had a young son, Alfon. To reach of Compostela, we watched him strip in grief of the awful redness of the sky as if it burned. One day the Japanese finally came, wearing loose, untidy, shapeless, sweaty clothes. The people disappeared like smoke. I chose to remain in the deserted house with my wailing son. When the townspeople came back, they didn't know whether to admire me for my bravery or scorn me for a fool. In time, of course, people got used to the Japanese being among them. One night, the farmer folk with all of the natives and some city evacuees like myself made an exodus into the hills. Came home. Become permanent. So much water having passed under the bridge. Somehow the closest of couples during the war became unsettled during the years following. While my husband had helped fight the war in Mindanao, often had I the long distance between us. Wished that we could take back all the words. The cruel, bitter words that sometimes in spite of love we had said to each other. How had we lost the gleam? Where among our ordinary everydays have we lost the ability to be happy and content with each other? When the war finally ended, with the danger over, tell my husband during those many, many days of waiting. Perhaps it had been wrong to suppose that they could turn into other than themselves. Flesh, cleaving to flesh. How can you expect it to be satisfied with only one mate? One known familiar embrace. Heart used to deceiving. Why expected to learn to tell the truth? I cannot now remember where the lying started. My husband. My friends understood, but many others didn't. Some men think that separated women are loose and easy prey. Having heard rather exaggerated stories about us, they always distrode us in their minds. We were also victims of the matrons, the respectable ones, always gossiping about us. Just how vulnerable all that chismis made me, I did not realize until 1955, when I published a short story entitled A Fairy Tale for the City. What followed was every writer's nightmare, especially a woman writer's. It all began when the then editor of the Manila Chronicle, Nino Cruz, commissioned me to write a story about a girl's experience of losing her virginity. I couldn't find anything to write about that. So, I wrote instead this story of an actual man who had the experience of having to refuse a young girl. He had put her through school, elementary to college. When she graduated, she wanted him. And that story led to the court trial. But I never mentioned anything of the sexual experience itself. All I did was describe in passing the scene of the concupiscence and the girl saying, "Press me hard." But
Order in the court! Order in the court!
It was that one statement! On account of that line they crucified me. The Holy Name Society and the Catholic Women's League calling my story immoral. At the trial, the witnesses against me were holy ladies, seminarians, 2 or 3 English professors from Catholic universities. The witnesses for me were Franz Arceliano and Vian Gonzalez, and some UP professors and some others. After all that bad publicity, I could not get a story out. Just to read my byline was enough for these editors whose wives were in the Catholic Women's League to reject my manuscripts.
Another story by Estrella Alfon. Dirty na naman. Oh, Estrella. Bastos na naman.
People who had never read a single story of mine. Publishers blacklisted me. Could not understand how they could be so swayed.